And we are in the midst of the fall season, just 10 days from Halloween. I love this time of year because I tend to do a lot of baking. I love to use pumpkin and a variety of different spices. So today I thought I'd show you how to recreate one of my favorite breakfast breads. It is a pumpkin chocolate bread, and it's very similar to the bread that I like at my local coffee shop. So with a few simple ingredients, you'll be able to make this recipe at home. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is whisk all of my dry ingredients together. You're going to take 2 cups of white whole wheat flour, 2½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then you're going to include your spices. So what I have here, I have a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/8 teaspoon of ground cloves. So I'm just going to lightly whisk all of these ingredients together. The next thing you're going to do is take 2 eggs and whisk them together in another bowl. So I've whisked my 2 eggs until they're light and fluffy. I don't know if you can see that. And now I'm going to add in 1 can of pumpkin, and that is a 15-ounce can, not your 29-ounce can. Then you're going to add in 2 tablespoons of Mazola oil, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Lastly, you're going to add 1/2 cup of milk. Once you have that incorporated, you're going to add your dry ingredients together. You don't want to overbeat this, but you want to make sure that everything is incorporated well together. While you're doing this, you might want to take your chocolate chips that you're going to swirl into the pumpkin mixture and start melting them. So you're going to take 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips and melt them in a double boiler. So I've already gone ahead and melted the chocolate over a double boiler, and I've separated the batter into 2 bowls, and I'm going to add the melted chocolate chips into one of them. So I took the melted chocolate chips and I incorporated it into half the batter. As you can see, I have a nice chocolate batter here. You want to prepare your pan with some cooking spray. And now what you're going to do is you're going to alternate between the pumpkin batter and the chocolate batter. So my second layer is going to be the chocolate batter. Just going to spread that here. And I'm going to top it with the pumpkin batter. And then I'm going to use a knife and swirl them together. Finish with my pumpkin batter. Meanwhile, you can have your oven preheated to 350. And this bread is actually going to bake for about an hour. Then you're going to take a knife and you're just going to swirl. And what I like to do after I've swirled the batter is finish with some chocolate chips and some cinnamon. Come back when it's done so you can see the finished work. So my pumpkin chocolate bread is done. And if you want to know if it's done, just take a toothpick, stick it in the center. If it comes out clean, then you know your bread is done. One thing I wanted to mention is if you'd like to make a vegan version of this, all you need to do is substitute applesauce for the eggs and use almond milk instead of regular milk. For this recipe and more like it, just visit my site,